Yeah, you're like the Ed McMahon to my Johnny.
I'm on fire.
Iponder.
I ponder, I wonder what you think. I ponder, I think you kinda stink. I ponder, what is in the sink? I ponder, you're just a dink. Ding, 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 ding.
So, the story that I picked, do you want to just, I think you should just cover the story.
Yeah.
This is you. Go ahead.
We're back? You did the...
Yeah, I did the bump.
Oh, I didn't know we were back. I don't have the little light go on. So,
like a 10, 12-second bump.
Yeah, okay. Well, challenging and revolutionizing architecture through 3D printing. How 3D printing is disrupting the architecture and design industry. Professor Aki Menges, head of the renowned Institute of Computational Design at Stuttgart University, knows that innovation is an invitation to leave behind old thought patterns. First, you use the new technology to build objects in the traditional way, as demonstrated by examples from China, where they are building conventional houses with 3D printers, he says. Designs and constructions that are genuinely specific to the new process are not created until the second step. That's actually... funny thing is...
What that's just meant.
What that means is that a great example is how wrought iron was first used. It was used basically ornamentally, and it basically looked like wood carvings. It looked like certain shapes. It looked like the traditional building structures, or what we would do with floral designs, because that's all they knew how to design with as we began to get iron. We didn't get steel beams for a ways after that until people became more comfortable with the material and its structural integrity.
So
when we get a new technology, we use it to do what we already know how to do. We don't use it to push to the new envelope yet until we build with it the old way and then understand the properties, and then we can extrapolate from there.
And I'm showing a picture here of it's a 3D printed concrete castle as one example. There's a picture of a huge 3D printer can print an entire two-story house, and as you can see in the picture, it's a conventionally designed home.
Yeah,
that's the point you're making there.
Yep.
All right.
Even though it allows us to do new things, we just haven't quite gotten there yet. So this means, for example, that 3D printing will make geometric complexity in building construction possible without much additional effort or expense. This knowledge, in turn, informs the design process, Menges says. Just as developments in software change the aesthetic of architecture, so could 3D printing. Because the technology creates components with multiple layers, we will have the possibility of creating very complex building components with gradient characteristics.
Okay, could you explain that? What's that mean, gradient characteristics? So does this just mean that you can have more imaginative detail and angles and stuff like that? Is that what we're talking about?
Well, the idea of layers is like the building sandwich. So like you know how like a regular sheetrock wall is constructed. You have the 2x4s, and then you have depending on what it is, plywood or then sheetrock, and then another layer of sheetrock, and then you paint it, and then you have your finished pieces or whatever. You can actually skip those layers because the nature of constructing it could be from bottom up, so you can actually have a gradient from, you're not building a sandwich anymore.
So what they mean by gradient is not a gradation in design, but a gradient as far as you could be printing from the same material, and you could, on one part it's harder and another part it's softer. It could have different properties, I guess.
Yeah. different properties, and it's easier. It also changes the construction process. So as you're printing, you can actually leave a cavity for conduits, such as electrical or plumbing and stuff. You don't have to build your structural frame or whatever and then drill holes through it and then run your conduits through it. You can actually print your conduits as you're going. It changes the entire construction process.
So it makes, I'm assuming it makes it cheaper. It makes it
faster. It leaves out the potential errors and coordination problems. Like you're going to be able to build it and coordinate it completely in 3D and then print it as it worked. Like when I was working in sprinklers and stuff, we would have coordination meetings. We would even design stuff in 3D and sit down with everyone and have all these plans or whatever. And then the guy that didn't attend the meeting went out and hung his drain pipe across the beam that you had to run on. And it changed everything. With this, you're just printing it. It's already coordinated before it even goes to construction.
Can hang their proverbial across the way in a way that blocks
another thing. Yeah.
Changes.
Yep.
Wow. So then we're talking about maybe houses won't look like they look now.
Correct. They won't have to look the way they look. Because a lot of the shapes, a lot of the sizes and stuff, like even with carpet, your carpet rolls come in 12-foot rolls. 12-foot or 15-foot rolls. So a lot of times designers or architects, if they're smart, when they design rooms and stuff, they're not going to design a room that's 12.3 wide. Because then you need to get a bigger piece, you're making more waste or whatever. Same thing with sprinklers. They have a certain dimension to them that's been developed over time based on the standard construction process.
What's kind of like with cars. So cars early on, like 30s, 40s, especially the 30s and the 40s, cars were designed to last. They were intended for you to have for a while. So they put a lot of effort into cars, and they put a lot of curves into cars. They were very stylistic. But curves cost money. Curves are much more difficult to manufacture on a large scale than straight lines.
Mm-hmm.
So you ended up, gradually cars started to straighten out, and especially when Detroit caught on that, hey, let's try to get people to buy a car like every year or as close to every year as possible. The new design, the new exciting designs. And so then because of that, then they started to straighten out. You had less curves.
Yep.
So this is like the reverse. Now suddenly you can add style and individual flair without dramatically increasing your cost.
Mm-hmm.
This is why homes are, you know better than me, why homes are largely rectangular, straight.
Right. It's easy to build.
Much easier.
It's easier to build. It doesn't have to be anymore. And it goes on to say components. I think this explains the gradient characteristics. Components could be soft on one end and hard on the other due to different printing materials being used in the course of the printing with a multi-material printer. So they could actually print the carpet on the floor.
Yeah.
Or make the walls softer so they absorb more sound.
And then they can print your electronic circuits and everything right into it.
Yep.
Because that's happening, electronic printing. And if you add to you think about where electronic printing is going. It's becoming micro. It's becoming wireless electronics. Man, I'm telling you, it's an exciting world. I had this dream. I discovered, now 3D printing's been around for a while, but I learned about 3D printing back in 2003. And when I discovered it, it was much more primitive than it is now, but I immediately saw the potential. I've been a 3D printing enthusiast waiting for it to arrive. And I have this dream between 3D printing and using nanotechnology and 3D printing and nanobots. So I have this dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's a silly dream that I'm going to one day. I'm going to go. I might go down to the car dealership. The car dealership, it may have on display, so for the purpose of you being able to touch the vehicle, see what it looks like, to experience it full on, not just look at a computer display. Although maybe, and this was a vision then, but maybe now you just use VR.
Right.
You don't even go to the dealership, you use VR. But you go to the dealership and you pick out your design and you tweak it. Like I want a 57 Chevy. No, I want a 53 Buick Skylark convertible. But I want it to be, I don't want it to be authentic. I don't want it to be like piece of crap that the Buick Skylark actually was. And I mean, when I say piece of crap, I mean in relation to how cars are now. Power steering and all the stuff that vehicles have now, they're way, way better. But it's a beautiful car. So I want that. I want the look. I want it to look like a Buick Skylark convertible, and I want to have all the bells and whistles of a modern vehicle. And I can order that vehicle, and there will be this vat of this material, like whatever it is, like some liquidized weird material. And that liquidized material is where these nanobots can go in. And these nanobots are collecting molecules from basic elements. And from the inside out, they're literally building the car, all the components, everything. And then the liquid is drained out, and then there's your car all printed.
Mm-hmm.
That's my dream.
Fantastic dream.
Isn't it? Isn't it? But now, I mean, we're not far down the road from and you know, you think about down the road, you're in your house, you're there for about 5 years, 6 years, you're bored with your house. The design is pretty cool, and you know what? You're bored. And say, you know what? I don't want this anymore. That's how you call over the 3D building company, and they come in and they destroy your house, but they use the material.
Yep.
They just put the material back through the system, and then they print you out a new house.
It'd be awesome.
Designed to your specifications. I think you're going to end up with a lot more round homes than you have now.
No, because furniture is still square.
Does it have to remain square?
You probably don't even need furniture. You can just build it in.
Yeah, you can build it into the wall. I mean, it's the sky's the limit. It's pretty exciting stuff. It'll change. It'll literally change in time. I don't know. Now this, I think they're a lot further away from seeing a lot of this stuff come to fruition. But then I remember in 2003, honestly, I mean, I saw things coming. But even in 2003, I was thinking 30, 40 years for some of the things that I'm already seeing now.
Right. Yeah. So it's increasing exponentially.
It's increasing.
And that goes back to our iScience story about the complexity of the universe and our knowledge base and science. And that unified theory, if anyone even decided upon it, would probably only be accurate for a day.
That's true. And you know, we've touched on this in this show. I think we even touched on it in the last show. The more you know, the less you know.
Yep.
And that's what's happening.
It's fantastic. I love it.
Being able to actually come up with a unified theory is getting more and more difficult because we keep finding layers of complexity that we didn't even understand. It's like, so what you see produced, you see these incredible, fantastic things that are starting to emerge and across the board. You have they're working on being able to 3D print biological cells.
Yep.
That can go into the body and like lasers go after a particular disease, and it's because they have this understanding, a new understanding of the complexity of the microverse, if you will. But okay, so you see that, you think, say, we're mastering it, we're getting on top of it. But so they've come to an understanding of the complexity of the microverse that they didn't have before. But in that process of seeing this complexity and even being able to use it in some pretty fantastic ways, what they see underneath it is like 10, 15, 20,000 layers of complexity that they didn't even know existed.
Right.
So they're getting further with each dive deeper.
Yeah, we're getting further away.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. You know,
it keeps the romance. It keeps the literary sense of romance, the unknown, that just on the brink, the sublime. It keeps the sublime alive.
Well, the thing right now, most of us, even my daughter, she's only 13, but still, even her, for most of us still, we're growing up, or we've grown up in a world in which we have this idea that we are heading towards a finite understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, I believe, kind of operate in that mindset.
Right.
If you see a paradigm shift where most human beings begin to understand the reality, which is the deeper you go, the further you are away from knowing, I think a lot of the absolutarianism crap out there begins to fall away.
Yep.
Because people are not going to be able to continue to hold on to this notion that they can build a finite understanding of the universe or human behavior or anything.
Right. Especially behavior.
Go ahead.
Especially behavior. But at the same hand, like I pointed out, so you've come to a deeper understanding of the microverse. And because of that deeper understanding, you suddenly see there's way more complexity than you thought there was. So in terms of understanding the microverse, you've actually gone further away. But in that process, you have still come up with applications that can be utilized in a very practical way. So it's like, you know more than you did, but now you know less more.
The quest towards knowing less yields constructive, useful, have your best life now discovery.
Yeah.
There.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Is that what you were saying?
Sure.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, I think we've come to the end of our show.
Yep.
Actually, this is a different vibe. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a good show.
Good times. Good times. I think this is
it.
This is how I like this to be. I like this particular vibe.
Yep.
And we'll just we'll cover one or more stories or whatever happens. We'll just go with it. And now that I finally got it so that I have scenes to show. I really like being able to show the websites and showing weird stuff like that. And I'd appreciate feedback from folks. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. And let me stress the part of let me know what you like. Becca said hi. Hi, Becca. And I'm going to be back on my channel tomorrow, on my Facebook page tomorrow for headlines you may have missed.
Great show. Check it out.
Yeah, it's headlines you may have missed. Actually, a lot of these stories ended up on headlines you may have missed.
Yep.
But I only cover them superficially compared to what we do on isDaily. And tomorrow night is Daily Wednesday with Niz. Pretty soon we're gonna have to mix some stuff up. I want to get some now that I've got some stuff settled out. I'm ready to start having a couple shows where we have like 3 of us on at a time sometimes.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great time for. I think a great time for that would be a Friday.
No shows on Friday for me.
Oh.
Not unless, and the only time I wouldn't have a regular schedule. That would be like something spontaneous, Because Fridays are like my planning and design days, man.
Oh,
I look
okay.
at everything, figure out what's working, try to tweak things and
That works.
fix things. Yeah. So, do you have any last things to say to our studio audience here before we punch this puppy in the head?
No, I'm good. Thanks for watching.
Promotions.
Go to agora.threadless.com and buy my stuff. It's great support for me. Thank you.
And go to istate.tv and you'll find everything there that is me and all the shows and everything else. All right, I'll see you tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. or thereabouts. Sometimes I can do it a little earlier, Eastern Standard Time. And we'll see you right here. Me and the one true Niz will see you tomorrow night, Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do Newsfire. We talk about politics and stuff like that. And we do... what do we do? Oh, we do dystopian tech and liberty tech. All right. I don't know why we're doing this, but we're doing this.
Oh, this one's and this one's heh.
This is the British raspberry.
Sure.
The workers salute. The British workers salute. Yeah. And then this is peace, man. Peace. All right. We'll see you guys. Thank you for joining us. Good night, everybody.
Adios.